Welcome to Facts for Real videos. I will share with you what happens if we pour all Earth's water on the sun. Is it feasible, for example, to extinguish the sun? What would happen if we poured? It contains all of the oceans on the planet. Or even more water. Let us discover that the universe is a mysterious place. Scientists have been debating how space works since antiquity. But none of us has ever questioned the existence of anything. The sun is the core of our solar system. It's big and bright, and it's not really immortal. The sun is a regular star made up of 75 hydrogen, a little helium, and a few other heavy elements held together by gravity. All at once, but in around 5 billion years. The hydrogen inside the sun will reach the end of its life cycle. When it runs out, our star will begin to develop gradually, and you have no idea how huge it will become. It will become, and then it will begin devouring all nearby planets, at which point we will regret our existence. After consuming us all, the star will remain a red giant for another billion years. Or so, and then, sooner or later, it will begin to shrink and fade, eventually turning into a white dwarf, and nothing will remain of it. But a vibrant and beautiful planetary nebula. But don't panic just yet. The sun is in the middle of its life cycle. It was born approximately 4.5 billion years ago, and, thankfully, approximately the same amount of time remains. In other words, we were born during the best and most stable phase of the star. There is no need to be concerned. So, how about using water to accelerate the sun's life cycle? We'll try to collect all the water on Earth and pour it onto the sun first. We'll need a bucket. No, not this one. We'll need a fairly huge bucket. The one that can contain roughly 326 million cubic miles of water. It will be the size of the distance between Washington and Chicago. If only we could find ordinary buckets. There should be roughly 70 quintillion of them. This is a number containing 18 zeros. Assume we acquired that many buckets by magic. When it's time to put out the sun, we all splash the star. This water and nothing serious. Look at this. The sun most likely felt sorry for us and unleashed a small solar flare. It turns out that all water on Earth is. People frequently underestimate the value of a tiny drop for the sun. In truth, how much larger the sun is than our globe. It can hold over 1,003,000 Earths. So, no, the sun will not set or even become colder. It won't even realize that we've done anything. But don't give up, we really want the sun to set for whatever reason. If we only pour enough water on it, and how much is enough, remember our quintillions of buckets. We actually require around 370 octillions of them. This number has 27 zeros. It's difficult to even imagine. So, let's just say there's a lot of water now. Let's do it all over again. Just look at the steam. However, the sun has not set. It said thank you and then grew more bigger and brighter. Flames from a campfire within a bonfire. When we pour water on the fire, a chemical reaction occurs. The water absorbs the heat of the flame and cools it to the point where it can no longer sustain the burning reaction. It also prevents the flames from getting enough oxygen. Water effectively comes to a halt. The chemical process, but the sun scorching is not the same reaction, even though we say it burns. What occurs is not totally true. There is a process known as nuclear fusion. It's one of the most violent and insane reactions in the cosmos. There are multiple layers of hydrogen that extend far into the sun. If you ram 4 hydrogen atoms together. When we talk about the sun, we're left with an atom of helium. When the star tries to carry out that fusion, the process becomes a little more tricky. Positive protons repel each other. Fortunately, it takes a lot of power and energy to get them together. Gravity is a wonderful force in space. The sun accounts for 99.8% of the solar system's total mass. The sun together with the help of a tremendous gravitational force. So gravity pulls quadrillions of these tiny hydrogen atoms together. Every second of every day, and when they collide, they release energy. So, unlike fire, the sun does not require oxygen to survive, it requires hydrogen, and we all know that water is H2O. It is composed of hydrogen and oxygen. So this is basically sun fuel. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. water's greater bulk will result. The sun is heavier now, and gravity thanks you for your assistance before colliding protons with each other even faster, and as a result, synthesis speeds up significantly. We've made the sun tremendously powerful, and it's now devouring us and other surrounding planets, and if we keep adding water, the sun will eventually collapse in on itself. It will blow off its outer layers and transform into an amazing black hole. It will now draw within anything in its path. Excellent work, gentlemen. Let us rewind, because our water experiment was definitely a blunder. A single little solar flare sounds much better. Sun has returned to his usual serenity. But it appears that we have overlooked something. Who would have guessed that water was crucial to life on Earth? There are a lot of dead fish and other marine species laying about where the oceans used to be. They simply were not able to resist such a drastic change in pressure. Wait a moment, algae and corals have also dried up. Didn't they produce 50 to 80% of the world's oxygen? It's time to put on your oxygen masks, and how are things on dry land? I mean, everything is now just land, but you get the point. Wow, this whole place is lighted up, literally if there are no oceans. There are no clouds or rain at that time. There are forest fires everywhere now, forcing poor creatures to flee and abandon their homes. Oh, and they won't be able to find a new home. Because, of course, all plants will dry up rapidly. On the Earth, there will simply be no place to live. So now the Earth resembles a massive desert. But, perhaps, people have been living in deserts for thousands of years. They'll know what to do. After all, everyone in the desert needs to drink. So now everything is in disarray, and survivors are fighting for the last drops of water. If there are any survivors at all, regardless of how many there are, their fate is sealed as they compete for resources. The ocean absorbs a massive amount of CO2 and solar heat. They also spread this heat around the world. The temperatures will swiftly rise to 250 degrees Fahrenheit or more after they are gone. Even if we ignore the extreme heat. We no longer have clouds, and they have also aided us by blocking solar radiation. As a result, humans are also directly impacted by the sun's rays. Icebergs are our last chance. Everything is scorching now. They've melted, and they might be humanity's only hope, but that cool solar flare was definitely worth it. That's all for now, stupid humans. So, if you've quenched your curiosity, give the video a thumbs up and share it with your friends, or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the facts for real videos.